You're listening to a community story from Be My Eyes.
My name is Aspen and I'm from Vestal, New York. I'm totally blind. I was born totally blind, and ever since I learned about crafts and what they were, I was like hooked and determined ever since I was like 4 or 5. So my goal is to just make as many of whatever as possible and find as many people to give it to as possible. That's like my destiny. I've always been that way. And I've always been a bulk person. Like, I'll buy like the biggest, best unit price of something to get more items made. You know what I mean? And I'm also a very good math person, so I'm like, okay, 1 pound of beads makes 490 bracelets, and I have 5 pounds of this kind, and I can make this many, and how many days will that take, and all this. I'm a very like mathematical oriented person. I use Be My Eyes for identifying what crafting materials I have, like colors of beads. And also I love to bake, so I used it for saying how many ounces is this bag of chocolate chips or something like that. Because I do everything I do in bulk. That's just how I do, because I figure if I'm gonna dirty a bowl or a pot, I might as well feed somebody who needs it. That's my philosophy. It helps identify what color something is. It can help identify what brand, or it can help if I'm trying to determine if 2 beads would go good together. I can use Be My Eyes. It can also help like if I want to know how many ounces or something is, so I can compare unit prices. The part that's challenging for me is more of the distributing part than the making. The making is actually I try to make things that I can do 100% independently. So I just buy from Fire Mountain Gems, like lots of beads, and I have a tray, like some sort of plastic tray thing that I've had for years and years and years. I just use that to hold like pliers, wire, the seed beads, the larger seed beads, the tube beads, anything I really need. The making in bulk is what is the satisfying part of the satisfying part. The other part is finding the people that appreciate whatever it is, that don't make it on their own. Any person, literally any person that I come in contact with that wants one. So usually they'll say yes like 99% of the time, but at like when you go to like the grocery store, when I put all the groceries on the belt, you know what I mean? I'll just put a bracelet on the belt or a Christmas ornament, because it's the holiday season now, and it'll slide down to the cashier, and then the cashier will usually go, "What's this for?" And I'm like, "It's a gift, it's yours." A lot of them are like so happily surprised, honestly. I've tried selling my products, and I wasn't satisfied. Like, I couldn't really do it very good independently, and it wasn't as big of I couldn't sell as many as I make. Like, I literally, some of these products I make like 50 a day, so I wasn't able to sell them all. So, and I just don't want them to go to waste. Like, that's all I care about. And this season we're planning to wear masks and go out to the mall and go up to the little counter at as many little stores in the mall as we can, and ask, "Hi, how many workers do you have?" and then give them gifts. And I usually have like a big bag that has like a couple hundred or 1,000 ornaments in it. And if they say there's 91 people, I'll just count 91 out and meet them all or give them away. I want to stand in a line of 1,000 people and just go down the line and give away. That's my dream. And it works because when I buy the supplies and stuff, my system is meant so that craft items, you have to get rid of them somehow. You know what I mean? You have to you take in craft supplies and you make them and you get like energy or enjoyment out of that, and then you have to get rid of them, like export them somehow. At one point I made a motorized knitting machine where I push the foot pedal, and there's a knitting machine with a hand crank attached to it, and it spins the crank and it knits a baby hat in like 3 minutes. And I remember going to the American Heart Association. I remember finding out that they wanted red hats for the little babies there, and I literally went with multiple people different times in the next week and got like literally all of the red yarn in Michael's, Joann's, and AC Moore in our local area. Like, I just bought out all the red yarn, and I went nuts. I probably knit like 50 to 100 hats a day on this machine. I would just stand there. I would watch it every like 3.5 minutes or less. I don't know. It was like somewhere in there. I had to like cut the yarn and pull it off the machine and then start a new one, and then I'd sit down and I'd weave in the ends and lace up the raw stitches on the end and finish it off. And when we got to the American Heart Association, there were like 6 or 7 huge lawn trash bags full of these little bitty red hats, and there were hundreds in each bag. And we got there and we were like, we're here to drop off red hats for the babies. And they're like, oh, thank you. And then we pulled out one bag and they were like, whoa. And then I kept pulling bags out of the trunk, and they said that I had beaten a company because they had hired a company to like make red hats a couple years ago, and the company didn't even make as many as I did. At Michael's, I used to work there, and I would offer, like, if you guys need Thanksgiving dessert made or something, if you don't have time to make it, just tell me what you want and I'll whip it up and bring it to you. It's my own business, and sometimes I buy in bulk and they don't understand why I need that bulk, and if I have Be My Eyes, it's kind of anonymous. I don't have to justify it on Be My Eyes. It's open 24/7. I can just, whenever I need something, I can have a backup plan. The volunteers are like the enablers. I love it. I love hearing random people's voices, and I wish that I could give them a gift over the phone.
Thank you for listening to this community story from Be My Eyes. You can share your story too. Send it to mystory@bemyeyes.com. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, download our app, or visit bemyeyes.com/community-stories for more.